Hello, my name is Andoni, and I am sitting with Youssef Ballout, CEO of Kadmos Energy. Thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you, Andoni. Thank you for having me here today.
Of course, and today we're going to talk about the role of nuclear energy in AI. And so, what role can nuclear energy play in the current surge of hyperscale and AI-driven data centers?
So, the need for electricity and heat into the industry has always been important, has always been there. With one great change in the last 3 to 4 years, with the rise of AI, artificial intelligence, there have been a great demand for additional energy to be added to the infrastructure of the United States. And so we had the last administration, the Biden administration, talking about tripling the energy production in the country, especially relative to electricity. And then the Trump administration is talking about quadrupling all this energy by 2050. This is an amazing demand on energy. So still doing energy production the old way is not going to cut it. There is no simple answer if you don't put a much higher production of electricity and other forms of energy from nuclear. So therefore, when nuclear is coming in, people just simply go on ChatGPT, on any other AI tool, and they just ask a question and they get back the answer. The energy demand on the computer system that will deliver those answers is much, much greater than the old tools and on the internet, like Google and others. And so you have to find new ways, more advanced ways, and still keep in mind that the energy could be costly to the environment if it's not done right. And so what we're doing at Kadmos Energy, we're going after these things with two things in mind. One has in mind the need to do it fast. You can't keep doing R&D on energy without paying a lot of attention to how much time do you have? Because if you don't really do it a little bit faster than what other companies are doing today, it will be delaying the production of nuclear energy, which means gas power plant will come in, other forms of energy will come in. And I'm not saying we're going to deny them access or enter into the system. They'll be there in any natural way. But we need to do our job faster. And then the second side to it is when you look at the investor field. People want to invest in technology, and hopefully will be coming in and looking at people like Kadmos. What is it that we're different on? I'll address that point a little later on, but the investor will be actually looking at getting the fruit of their investments faster because of what Kadmos reactor will be looking like. So we'll be talking about that later.
Amazing, amazing. And what is Kadmos Energy's vision for building the infrastructure that will scale with AI and digital transformation?
That's a great question. So for those who are not really familiar with nuclear technology, a nuclear reactor is pretty much like the tea kettle that you put on the stove. It heats up water. That's it. And there's the mystery of nuclear, how it works, and so on. The science behind it, we'll leave it behind. But you really need to heat up the water or some other fluid to move the heat from inside the reactor to somewhere outside that basically will make steam for most reactors and will send it to a turbine that will make electricity. Our vision is the following. A lot of the advanced nuclear reactor technology companies today, they're all doing very smart reactors, and I worked with a lot of these companies in my previous job at the Idaho National Laboratory. So I have a great familiarity with what they do. The problem is the following. We need these reactors today, and if we need it today, we need a lot of data. Because you go to the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, they're not going to grant you the right to build a reactor, basically a license, without a lot of data behind it. So I choose to go design a reactor where the database to design the reactor and then build it exists today. And so what we have today is what I call the Home Depot approach. The Home Depot approach basically simply you go to the store, you find something on the shelf, you take it home. If you don't find it on the shelf, you may have to build it yourself. You can do it. It's going to take a lot more time. So the investors looking at the Home Depot approach will find out that we are trying to build reactors to feed the energy need in the country much faster than anybody else. I would argue that, yeah, there are smart designs out there, But the other side of my argument is that it's not ready. It's going to take a lot more time. So investors looking at us will realize we will be building reactors much faster than everybody else. And our reactor is a small modular reactor, it's SMR. That's what we know, what we call it in the business. What SMR is instead of building the reactor in the field, like the AP1000, usually this one started by Westinghouse a while ago, it takes time. And you have these huge concrete buildings that will take a lot more money and a lot of know-how in concrete too. And it's not just nuclear. Our reactor is different. SMR, you build it in the factory. It's like the Legos you used to play with when you were a little kid. And you take these pieces, the modules, to the place where you're going to build the reactor, you assemble it. In addition to that, our reactor is going to be underground. So we call it below grade. The purpose for that is not just safety and so on, which is very important. It was beyond that. It's less impact on the landscape, less impact on the environment. It's all below grade. Something went wrong. We don't expect these things. It is all contained below. So that's the vision for that.
And so, in a way, your differentiating factor is how fast you can build it, and or what would you say is your main differentiator from the broader industry approach?
So the broader advanced reactor industry approach, as I mentioned earlier, is to look at reactors that actually can deliver in their vision better than the pressurized water reactor systems that we've had in the country for the last 70 years. So nuclear technology is a little bit older than for the civilian applications, over 70 years old in the country. The majority of the reactors that have been built in the United States and across the globe are pressurized water reactors. And a lot of the new reactors that are designed, that are coming down from my colleagues and the other companies, they're not going after PWR. They're going after something else. Nothing wrong with that except for the time factor and the cost factor. Because R&D costs money. The approach from Kadmos is that we're going to be using the database, the vast database that exists for advanced nuclear reactor. And that's actually our first biggest differentiator. Two, because we're building an SMR with existing technology, the cost will be significantly reduced. If you look at one of the last reactors built in the country, the AP1000 in the town of Vogel in Virginia, in Georgia, you look at that design, it's estimated it's probably $13 billion, maybe $14 billion for the reactor. That's a lot of money.
A lot of money.
Yeah. So what we're going to be doing is building reactors that actually will cost a fraction of that. The Kadmos reactor will be the very first version of it. We're building it with minor changes to the fuel in it. We're going from 50, 100, or 150 megawatt. We can make it bigger, but that's just first approach to feed the data centers. That's a big differentiator. But if you want like 300, I could just take two 150 Kadmos reactors. We're calling it right now the RN1, Kadmos RN1. That will be our first reactor. We will put two next to each other. If you need 900, we can put three next to each other, and so on. And that ability to scale as the need also rises with it will help us keep costs under control, significantly under control. Our estimator right now is $500 to $700 million per reactor. That will change with time. We'll see how that goes. But the nuclear reactor technology cannot today wait for the most advanced reactor. We want reactors that can be built today to support the needs today. The investors' interest in us should be based on the fact we can deliver faster because of what I just mentioned, and we can actually locate our reactors near the places where they might be needed. So from an investor point of view, it's greatly needed.
So they get to benefit sooner as investors.
Everybody can get that. So the exit strategy for the investor will be, well, these guys, Kadmos have the technology. It's there. They don't need to do much R&D, maybe minimal R&D, and our IP will actually be protected so they can benefit from that. So the investors should be looking at us in terms of the ability to deliver the technology soon and the ability to deliver the technology at a reduced cost because of what I just talked about.
Amazing. Amazing. Well, super interesting. Thank you so much for sharing today, Youssef.
Okay.
And I hope we get to talk again soon.
We will be talking. Thanks a lot, Armando.
Of course, my
Thank
friend.
you. Thanks a lot.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.